What does that mean? Because what does insulin help us do?
Control blood sugar.
How? Why?
Insulin eats that sugar.
Okay, insulin helps us with the sugar. Alex?
Convert the glucose into glucagon.
If we need to have some storage going on. But insulin, insulin's job is like at a cell, because that's where we're talking about it. At the cellular level, insulin's job is to act like a key to open that cell to let the sugar go in, specific glucose, because that's the only one we can use, okay? To let the glucose move into the cell. That's the job of insulin. If that goes wrong, that's where we end up having diabetic problems. But what does the glucose do inside the cell? What process is glucose involved in?
Glycolysis.
All right, we got glycolysis. And what else that takes place inside the mitochondria? Because glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. What occurs in the mitochondria? Cellular respiration. What is the product that gets produced from that?
ATP.
ATP. And that is our energy of the cell. Why would fetal cells need that much energy?
A lot of division going on.
Lots. Because once egg and sperm meet, everything else is dependent on mitosis. One cell making two, two making four, and so forth. And think about it. By the time of fertilization, till time getting ready for birth, what forms of human with the working parts? That's why I like to tell new dads, you know, if you go home, mom hasn't really done any cooking or cleaning that day, don't say nothing. Because she can look at you and go, I made a liver today. What did you do? Think about it. You know, that's busy. That is busy for the mom and the baby. So that,
I'm gonna need a push protein.
huh?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna need a push protein.
So, did you see how cool that is? I just think that's pretty cool, you know? So, when we think about those IGFs, those insulin growth factors, look at what they get to do. Protein synthesis. Proteins are made by cells. Synthesis means to make them, so we get to make them. We get to metabolize lipids. We get to metabolize carbohydrates. Now, the glucose sparing effect, that refers to, all right, the only nutrient the brain can use is glucose. The other cells of our body can use proteins and fats to make energy. The only nutrient a brain cell can use to make energy is glucose. And the body, one thing about the body it is going to make sure the brain has glucose. So we might have times where if we don't have enough glucose, if the body needs to make glucose from another product, such as a fat cell, which it can do, okay, it's kind of cool, not good, well, maybe. I guess it depends. Okay. But anyway, it'll spare the use to something else that might need it so that it can go to the brain. It'll say, oh, no, kidneys or muscle cells or whatever. It'll say, no. This glucose is going to the brain because the brain is short of glucose. The brain needs energy. So, sorry, you don't get it. So it will send it to the brain first, as long as we're providing glucose. Electrolyte balance is something else that the IGFs help with. Why is it important to have a balance in your electrolytes? Well, what are the electrolytes? Alex?
Sodium, potassium,
Sodium, potassium,
chloride,
chlorine,
calcium.
calcium, magnesium, zinc. Why do I need to have a balance for those?
Ion pumps.
You'll die. Blank.
Too much water.
Some of these ions get out of balance. Death can ensue. Yeah. Y'all ever know people that go in and they say, oh, well, they had a potassium deficiency or something, or sodium deficiency. And they went in probably because their heart was not acting right, or their lungs were not acting right. And that's because it will get to a point where they stop. And so they have to make sure and go in and get those electrolytes right. Now, Mitzi, in thinking about the water that's present, if there's too much fluid, like somebody's retaining fluid or something, it's going to mess up their electrolytes because they're not going to be in balance in the body to make those other organs and cells work. Yeah, that'll be something that once you get into your field that you're choosing to go into, you will see a lot on lab work. You will see it a lot where there's some type of ion deficiency. You know, and they're probably working to get that straightened out because it makes people very sick. It really does. So when we look at growth hormone is playing a part in this, not just during fetal development. We're talking our entire lives. And one of the things that becomes important for the growth hormone, sleep. We've talked about the importance of sleep, right? This is another reason that you want to make sure that you get enough sleep and quality sleep, so to speak, because growth hormone, this is a time. Now, why would it be at such a high release at those first 2 hours of sleep? Because if y'all know Betty White, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I love a saying that she has. She says, always make sure you get your 8 hours of sleep a night, 9 if you're ugly. Have y'all ever seen that? Okay, and I like that because I like to get my 8 hours of sleep, 9 if I can, okay? But that's 2 hours. Why is that growth hormone important during those first 2? And then what's going to happen in the remaining 6? And your body's getting to what during that time? During that remaining hours of sleep, your body, it goes way down, of course, in the vitals, and it's allowing for the rest of the body and all the cells to work and repair. Repair what? Cells have to make sure that they maintain their plasma membranes. They have to make sure they maintain their organelles. Cells need that time. Because if a cell is not functioning, that tissue is not functioning. So it becomes important. Does that make sense? So we need to make sure that this growth hormone, and yes, it does decline as we age. Therefore, that commercial that I talked about earlier. Because cellular repair is also referring to all these signs we see of aging. The wrinkles, the crow's feet, the laugh line, the stuff that people, that society kind of says is not acceptable. I say it shows you've survived. You know? It's your coming of age. It's your, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I think it's important. But at the same time, it is going to decline. Things are going to start to break down. Trust me on that. And because cells have these little elastic fibers, like the collagen and elastic and that sort of thing, it does stand to reason cells are going to break down. And yeah, you get the droopy ears and the big nose and all that sort of fun stuff. So growth hormone becomes important. Let's stop right there for today.